Contest, Norway Queen 4 India, Norway Queen 4 India contest.
Okay, we're going to talk to Pat about contesting. He is one of the more avid contesters I've run into, but his club does a lot of public service, which is a lot different than what I think of most contesters. So they're a fairly useful group, even though I don't like the contests they participate in. But we're going to hear his comments on them, and we're going to see why some of the contesters may not be as physically fit as other contesters. So I hope you enjoy my conversation with Pat. I couldn't really get him to say anything really negative about a contest, but I tried.
And so the point of an exchange in a contest is to be able to copy some information correctly and log it correctly. That's the whole point of that. And so initially, obviously, the first thing you have to be able to copy correctly in an exchange is the other operator's call sign. So yeah, the signal report for most of us has no meaning anymore. It's a 5-9. Everybody knows that. And there are different contests that require different exchanges. Some are a signal report with a serial number. Some are a signal report and a name. There's some that don't even include a signal report. So all different kinds. Sweepstakes is a very long exchange.
I invent this contest in which the exchange is name, location, names of family members, occupation of family members, and age of children. Very, very, very long exchange. Mm-hmm. Will that promote people actually getting to talk to each other?
You might have a tough time getting people to go in, enter a contest with that kind of an exchange. That's a long exchange. But you might not. But as far as promoting people to talk to each other, it depends on for what purpose you're talking. It's not like rag chewing, you know what I mean? Contesters want to make the contact and move on because it's all about cue rate and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like rag chewers where you're getting to meet and know someone, you know, on some kind of a personal level. It's make the contact and move on to the next one.
So what use does a contest, what is the usefulness of a contest?
Okay, and again it goes back to what I said earlier, where it's our ability to, under difficult conditions, and contesting is some of the most difficult conditions that you can work under, is to be able to accurately and reliably copy information that's given to you. Whether it's just a call sign, a serial number, a long exchange, whatever it is, being able to do that and do it consistently and do it over 24, 48 hours with, you know, a lack of sleep, probably not eating very well, if any at all. I mean, it's an extreme sport. So where that comes into some use is, let's say if we're talking about emergency communications, where again, you might be dealing with conditions that are not favorable for communication to begin with, propagation-wise, background noise, stress levels, all kinds of stuff, and you throw that in there, and you still need to be able to communicate information and receive information reliably and accurately.
Now you said...
And it's a very important skill.
You said contesting was a sport.
It is.
Any sport that I'm involved in requires actual physical movement, like softball, volleyball,
chess,
biking. I wouldn't call chess a sport. Chess is a game. Chess is a game. Golf is a game.
Mm-hmm. Well, now there are golfers who would argue that golf is a sport. It requires a physical stamina, and
but you can't argue that contesting requires physical stamina other than staying up late hours.
When was the last time you stayed up for 48 hours?
I've never stayed up for 48 hours.
Well, there you go. It's not easy to do. And by the way, not just be able to concentrate on, again, the information you're giving and that you're receiving, but being able to make critical decisions during the contest as far as keeping in mind propagation, making band changes, following the rules. There's a whole host of things you have to be concerned with during a contest that require a mental agility, and you have to maintain that through the entire contest. And because of that, it puts a requirement on you for, again, being able to sit for a long time, which isn't easy to do to begin with.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of hams around here. They look like they've sat a long time.
Well,
and
perhaps.
They look. As we look at you, you are very physically fit.
I'm fairly trim.
Okay. And as I look at some of your members sitting over there, they're okay. They're okay.
Yeah.
But as I look around at many other hams, and I'm going to pan over here. I'm going to try and avoid. There. I'm trying to avoid his face.
Okay.
There's too many hams that tend to look like that, and
And I've seen your videos on that.
Okay.
Yep. And so I'll say this: when we talk about contesting, if you look at even an avid contester, the number of major contesters that there are in a year, we might spend a total of, in the chair contesting, we might spend, for most of us, a half a dozen weekends, maybe 10 weekends in a year. For us single operators, a lot of the contests we can't operate the entire 48 hours. So we're not talking about a substantial amount of time over the course of a year sitting on our rear ends.
That's some of you, but there is virtually a contest every weekend.
Sure.
Not a major one.
And so there is a capability for people to sit in that chair all weekend, every weekend. You're right. I don't know if there are people that do that. I'm sure there probably are.
Why is your group here in Boxboro today?
Okay, we're here to support the amateur radio community. We're here to support the convention itself. We're here at the flea market specifically because we're selling our gear to make money for our club, and also to help dispose of one of our former members, who's now a silent key, of his gear for his family, and we're going to give the money to the family when we're all done.
Hey, there's a CW contest, but you find the CW contesters on 20 meters right into the PSK area and the RIDI area.
Right.
To me, that's being a pig. What's your answer to that?
I agree with you.
Go ahead.
Okay, and I agree with you because there are sub-bands that are agreed upon. They're gentlemen's agreements, and as contesters, we have to respect those. Just as CW operators wouldn't appreciate if RIDI operators encroached into their sub-bands, and that happens during contests. So yes, when there's a CW contest, when there's a RIDI contest, any other kind of digital, a sideband contest, respecting those boundaries is extremely important. It's important for a number of reasons. Number one, because we have to respect each other as amateur radio amateurs. And then number two, we need to make sure that the contesting community does not get the bad impression that we can foster sometimes.
Contest, Norway Queen 4 India, Norway Queen 4 India contest.
With that kind of activity, everyone has a right to share the HF bands, and we have sub-bands for a reason, and we all need to respect those. So I agree with you. That kind of operation is not good. I don't participate that way, and I wish that contesters wouldn't as a whole. I'm not saying that large, unlimited clubs like the YCCC and all those, they don't have their place. They absolutely do. We need those guys out there doing what they do to get people involved in contests and to get people involved in amateur radio. And as a contester, we need, and it's one of the few sports that you can say this, we need that competition so that we have people to contact as well. So I roll my eyes because for me, if I think about being in a large club like that, the impact that I can make as a single operator, giving my scores and my effort to a large club, is very minuscule. But in a small club like CTRI that I'm in, any scores that I submit are pretty substantial. We're talking about a club that has 10 to 15 members as opposed to 400. So my contribution means a lot more to my club than if I were to give my measly, 300,000 points or whatever to the YCCC. And that's the only reason why. I have nothing against the YCCC at all. As a matter of fact, I was a member for, I think, a year. And it just, that style of club membership doesn't appeal to me. It does to a lot of people. They've got 400 members. What they're doing is obviously very successful.
Let's say there was a contest on Christmas Day, and the contest started at 6 a.m. to 12 noon and required you to not participate with the family. You had to continually operate and being away from the family. Now that sounds rather mean, but the reason I ask that, do contesters abandon their family during regular contests, and how much of a problem is that?
Okay. Using the Christmas Day example, I would say that, for me personally, no, I would not choose to operate in a contest rather than be with my family. That's more important to me than contesting. It always will be. There are people who probably would, and the majority of them may be non-Christian, which is perfectly fine. And there may be some Christian people who don't have families or whatever. So, but for me personally, since that's what you asked, no, I would not operate that way. As far as contesters spending time contesting rather than with the family, each of us has our priorities, and Are there some contesters out there that might contest, how should I put it, make contesting more of a priority than their families? I'm sure there may very well be. Are there contesters that are able to balance their personal lives with contesting? I'm sure there are. And I would imagine of the contesters that I've met, that's probably a fair majority.